Hello everyone, it's Jen. Welcome back to Bookish Blonde. So today for you, I'm going to recommend 11 of romance titles of some of my favorite romance books, and they're all going to be based upon different popular and well-known romance tropes. So these are in no particular order. Some of these I don't even own. I read on my Kindle or are lent out, never got back, those kinds of things. But over the last, I would say 10 years or so, I have loved all of these books, and so I'm really excited to share with you. So let's get started. Okay, the first romance trope we want to talk about today is opposites attract. And you guys, there are so many different books that have opposites attract in romance, but this is one of my favorites for this trope, and that's Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. So you guys know this is one of my favorites by her. We are following two characters. We have Alexis and Daniel. So Alexis is a doctor. She lives in the city, as you can see just from the cover. She comes from a very well-known, well-to-do family, and she is a very busy and important doctor. And she ends up meeting Daniel, who is completely different. He's 10 years younger. He lives out in the country. He's a carpenter. And so they meet. They have a very quick, intense attraction, and you watch them try to make this relationship work, coming from two completely different worlds. And this is 5 out of 5 stars, one of my all-time favorites. Please pick up this book if you have not read it. I don't know one person that read this and didn't like this book, so highly recommend that one. Next trope is another fun one, and that is Grumpy Sunshine. So Grumpy Sunshine is the trope where we have a grumpy, miserable male character and a female character that is, high on life and bubbly and cute and just happy all the time. And obviously those are opposites too. A lot of these tropes kind of, can overlap in some books, but this one is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, one of my favorites of all time. This one's a little more slower burn, I would say, but this one made me cry at the end. There are a couple books in this world, like sequels. Didn't love them as much, but this one, you can't go wrong. This one takes place in a very remote Alaska area, so the backdrop and the setting was also so fun to read. I don't read a lot of books set in Alaska, so I enjoyed the setting very much. And we're following Calla Fletcher, who her father lives in a very remote part of Alaska, and when her father and mother's marriage doesn't work out, mom takes her out of Alaska. I can't remember, maybe like Washington State or something like that. So she grows up not really seeing her dad too much, and she's now an adult, and she wants to fly to Alaska to spend some time with her dad. And I won't go into too much there, but for very good reason, she goes back to Alaska, and that's where she meets Grumpy Sunshine. Mr. Grumpy, Jonah. Jonah is an Alaskan flyer pilot, which so is Calla's dad, and so you watch them kind of build a relationship, a friendship first, which is neat, and they're just opposites, and she tries to basically pull the best out of him and help him out too. So yeah, so that's it. So you follow their relationship, and I love it. This is such a good book. You guys should read that one. Okay, the next trope is fake dating, and one of my favorite fake dating books of all time is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. You also get Hate to Love in this as well, but for this sake of this video, this is my fake dating recommendation. We're following Olive and Ethan. So Olive, her twin sister, they're identical twins. She gets married, and Ethan is a friend of Amy's husband, and so they're at this wedding, and everybody gets food poisoning, which that actually happened to someone in my family, and it's just horrible. So the whole wedding, all the guests, everyone gets food poisoning. And so I think her name was Allie or Amy. Amy, the twin sister who got married, her and her husband cannot go on their honeymoon to Hawaii. It's all paid for, can't get their money back. So for the sake of a free vacation, Olive and Ethan go on this vacation, go on this honeymoon, and they have to fake date so that they can get away with it because they are not the bride and groom that booked this trip. So you following that, they put aside their hatred to both get a free vacation, And there you go. It's also a good close proximity trope as well in here. So you have a couple in here, but I had so much fun with this book. Perfect summertime read. I laughed so much in this book. The banter between the two it was just top notch. So really good. Highly recommend if you haven't read that one. That one's a little bit older. It came out in 2019, so it's been out for a while. Okay, next one is Second Chance Romance. So for Second Chance Romance, I would like to recommend The Girl He Used to Know by Tracey Garvis Graves. I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. I feel like this one, a lot of people, it's underrated. Like, I don't think a lot of people have read it, but I just thought this was so well done. We're following Annika, who is an English major. She is away at college, and she's kind of socially awkward, has a lot of anxiety, has a hard time connecting with people, and she meets Jonathan over a friendly game of chess, and you watch their friendship and relationship start in college, and it's beautifully written. Tragedy strikes, kind of shatters their relationship. Won't go there with what that is. You'll have to read to find out. And then it picks up. Fate has it to where they run into each other 10 years later, and they try to rekindle their relationship they once had. This is a beautiful book. I really enjoyed it, and I don't hear enough people talking about it. So, yeah, pick it up. Pick it up. It's a good one. Okay, next one, which is a little bit on the taboo side, and that is the age gap romance trope. This is one of my favorites of all time. The only book Robin Lee has written. It's The Idea of You. This was made into some, was it Netflix? I think Netflix, but it was made into a movie for TV. I did not like it. I didn't like the casting of the male characters, so that ruined it for me. So if you've watched that, don't let it turn you away from this book, because the book was so much better. It was so good. This one, we're following a 39-year-old mother named Celine, and she's an owner of an art gallery in Los Angeles, doing the single mom life. She's raising a teenage daughter, and something happens, and her daughter's father, I don't even know if they were married. It's either her ex-husband or just the dad, but he has these backstage tickets to take their daughter and a friend to go see this popular boy band. Think like Harry Styles, someone that's like epically famous and everyone's obsessed with. And so that falls through. And so to make sure her daughter, it still gets to be able to go, she ends up taking her daughter and a friend. There's VIP backstage passes. That's where she meets Hayes, who is the heartthrob, the leader of the band, the singer of the band, and you follow their romance. And it's very taboo because she's 39 and he's in his early 20s. So I don't know. It was well written. It was really good. And I liked seeing her grapple with her personal needs and that romance, and then also grapple with how that was conflicting with like her being a mother, and what's the right thing to do. So it was very good. Highly recommend. I'm really hoping she comes out with another book at some point. This came out a long time ago too. This came out in 2017. So she needs to write another one. Please. Okay, so the next trope is one of my favorites, enemies to lovers. And for this, it's one of my favorite books, romance books of all time. And that's The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I have a copy of this somewhere. I think I lent it to my sister. I'm not sure if she still has it. But The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, you have two people that are they're arch nemesis. They both work for the same company. They absolutely hate each other. They do a lot of passive-aggressive maneuvers at work. They sit across from each other at work. They're both co-CEOs of a publishing company. And there is a job promotion coming up, and they're fighting for this job promotion. So their battle of wills comes to a head when Lucy refuses to back down from going for this job promotion. It's her dream job. That creates even more tension between Joshua and Lucy. And when things hit a boiling point, Lucy starts having some opposite feelings about Joshua and starts to fall for him, and you follow it from there. Who gets the job? Find out. This was so much fun. I enjoyed this so much, and It made me love strawberries, which you have to read the book to find out what that means. I'm just kidding. I've always loved strawberries, but there's strawberries in here, and I get that visual every time I think about this book. Okay, next one is Friends to Lovers, and there's a lot of books with this trope as well, but the one I want to talk about today is one of my favorites, and that's People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I feel like this isn't her most well-loved popular book, but it was the first Emily Henry that I read, so I think that makes it special to me because I fell in love with her writing in this book, and I wanted to read everything the woman wrote after I read this. So this one we have two friends, Poppy and Alex. They really don't have anything in common, but they have this friendship. They met in college, I believe, and so they have this friendship, and every year they meet, they go their separate ways, their lives go on separate tracks after college, but they meet up every summer for a vacation because they're best friends. Then one of these vacations, one thing leads to another, it kind of breaks their friendship up, makes it awkward. They haven't talked for 2 years. And Poppy is really having a hard time, struggling, missing her best friend, wanting to reconnect with him to, kind of support her and get his opinions on everything that she's struggling with and going through. So they meet up for one more summer vacation, and you follow it from there. You can kind of guess where it goes, but I had so much fun with this Emily Henry book. It's not my favorite by her, but like I said, it's special to me because it was my first Emily Henry, and I fell in love with her writing in this book. So that one's a fun one. Another great summertime read. Okay, next one, The Trope of Marriage. So I appreciate books with a little bit more mature characters when it comes to my romance. And one book that blew me away, and it's the only book I've read by this author, and that is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I actually got this book from my library, so I don't own it, but this was such a beautiful book about, basically it's another second chance romance as well. That trope is in it, but we're following two characters. They are co-parenting their two kids. They own a business together, but they've decided that their marriage just didn't make sense anymore, so they are divorced, and they are getting by, running a business, raising kids, everything's fine, and then something happens and they decide to kind of rekindle things and see if they can fall back in love. Beautiful book, harder, more mature topics, but it was so good, so good. I have another one on my shelves by her that's in the same world. I think it's called Skyland #1, this book, and yeah, it's really good. Pick it up if you have it. It's a nice older character type book. So there's that. Okay, next one is a dark romance, specifically Obsession. So this book is one of Colleen Hoover's books. This is Too Late. This may not be one of her more popular ones because it is such a dark romance, but I was hooked. I loved it. I read this, I think, in 1 or 2 settings, and it's a little bit longer of a book. Well, no, it's under 400 pages. But this one we're following Sloane, and she's in love with Asa Jackson, and he's a notorious drug trafficker. So their relationship starts out in a healthy way, but as she gets to know him and dives deeper into the world of this drug trafficking, and he's a criminal, and she really starts struggling with that, but she feels trapped at this point because he is obsessed with her and is very controlling and a very dangerous man. And you follow also Carter, who's the DEA agent that is investigating this whole drug criminal empire, and you take it from there. So Carter tries to help Sloane get out of this obsessive, very scary relationship. So you definitely have a suspenseful, almost thriller twist to this romance, but it was well done, and I thought it was great, and I really loved it. A Colleen Hoover that I feel like not enough people talk about. Okay, next one is Forbidden Love, and I was really surprised I liked this book as much as I did because it's so taboo, and that is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I'm pretty sure, I think Penelope Douglas writes a lot of more taboo romances. As far as I know, this is the only one I've read by her. I read this on my Kindle, and like I said, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I still only gave it 4 stars, but when I read it, I really enjoyed it. And so we're following Jordan, who is in a relationship that's going okay, nothing to complain about, like everything's going well, but there's just something missing and she's not really sure what that is. But anyways, her boyfriend and her move back into his childhood home with his father, and she starts falling for her boyfriend's father. The first half of this book is very slow burn. Second half is very steamy. Again, we have a 38-year-old man and a 19-year-old girl, so that also has the trope of age gap romance. But for this, I'm doing forbidden because I can't imagine. But yeah, I enjoyed this book so much, and I didn't think I would love it. I picked it up. There was some kind of like romance bingo or something I was doing when I read this book, and I picked this up for forbidden romance. That was the bingo square. So there you have it. Pick that one up. I loved it. Okay, so the next one is Close Proximity Trope. And for this one, I'm going to go with Beach Read by Emily Henry. I have the special edition. I've shown it here before. It's just so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. But yeah, we are following two writers. We have January, who writes best-selling romance, and we have Augustus, who is an acclaimed like literary fiction author. Again, the opposites attract in this one as well, another overlapping trope. But the only thing they have in common is for the next 3 months, they are going to be writing in these beach houses that are right next to each other. And they're both kind of struggling. They end up talking and decide, for the next 3 months while we're stuck here, let's try to write in each other's genres. And so they go on a lot of different dates and visit around this area and kind of touristic-y things, and to kind of get some inspiration for writing these stories, and they get to know each other. And it was such a beautiful romance. I love this one. I can't pick a favorite Emily Henry. I think it's too hard. but yeah, this was 5 stars for me. So there's that one. So there you have it. Those are 11 romance books with different tropes that I highly recommend. Have you read any of these? I really want to know, what's your favorite romance trope? Put that down in the comments below. What do you guys gravitate towards? And I hope you enjoyed. Happy Valentine's Day. I hope everyone had a great Valentine's Day, and I will talk to you later. See you in my next video. Happy reading. Bye.